Why are you doing that, camera? Why are you misbehaving like that? Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Morning Bible. It's wonderful to have you. You may notice I'm speaking quite quietly today, and that's because everyone else in the house is asleep, or at least in bed. So I'm trying to keep it down. I'm recording quite late, but the good thing is, the Bible is just as relevant, just as powerful late at night as it is first thing in the morning. I just think it's a better habit to read it first thing in the morning than to wait until you're about to fall asleep. But we've got a nice short passage today to start your day off right and to end my day off right. It's talking about money, which is quite an important thing at the moment. I feel like in a lot of people's lives, a lot of people are stressing about this. So let's see what Jesus has to say to us about money. We are going from verse 19 in chapter 20. It says, "The scribes and the chief priests sought to lay hands on him at that very hour, for they perceived that he had told this parable against them, but they feared the people." So yesterday, you may remember, we had the parable of the wicked tenants. So there's the vineyard owner, and he sends several servants to go and claim back the money from the tenants that are in his vineyard, and the tenants keep beating the servants and sending them away without money. And so he eventually sends his son, and his son is similarly treated poorly. And so Jesus has been teaching this in the temple, where there are a lot of chief priests, and they're not very happy with him being in the temple. And so they see that Jesus is teaching this parable about them. He is calling them the wicked tenants. So they're not very happy with him, because he's comparing them to very unethical people, basically. And so they're not very happy with him. They want to lay hands on him. They want to get Jesus in trouble, but they can't, because Jesus has got this huge following, and they know that if they attack Jesus, if they do anything to Jesus, then this whole crowd will turn on them. And so they watched him and sent spies, who pretended to be sincere, that they might catch him in something he said, so as to deliver him up to the authority and jurisdiction of the governor. So the governor here is a man called Pontius Pilate. It doesn't mention him by name just yet, but he will become a much bigger figure in the next couple of chapters. And so these chief priests clearly aren't super ethical, because they decide to send spies. So they're like, how dare this man call us bad priests and, unethical people? Let's send spies to go and catch him out and get him arrested. It's like, maybe you're not doing that in the most honest way. Maybe you're kind of proving his point. So they send these spies, and these spies are there with the sole intention of catching Jesus out. And so let's read how they try and do it. So they asked him, "Teacher, we know that you speak and teach rightly, and show no partiality, but truly teach the way of God." So they come in saying very nice things to Jesus, trying to sort of butter Jesus up, so to speak, trying to sort of get on his good side, convince him that they are followers. And then they come in with a question. They say, "Is it lawful for us to give tribute to Caesar or not?" So they're asking if it's lawful, essentially, to be paying taxes, to be giving Caesar their money. Caesar was in charge of the whole region at the time, and so all of their money indirectly got filtered up and up the ranks, but eventually all of that money got up to Caesar. And so they're saying, is it right for us to give money to Caesar or not? The reason why they ask him this question is to try and catch him out. So if Jesus says, no, you shouldn't be giving your money to Caesar, you should be giving it to God, then they can be like, ha, this Jesus guy, he's telling people to not pay taxes, we can get him arrested and in big trouble for that. And so they're kind of expecting Jesus to give that answer. But it says, "But Jesus perceived their craftiness, and he said to them, 'Show me a denarius. Whose likeness and inscription does it have?' They said, 'Caesar's.' He said to them, 'Then render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's.' And they were not able in the presence of the people to catch Jesus in what he said, but marvelling at his answer, they became silent." So once again, we see Jesus completely shutting them down. And he gives a very, very simple answer. He says, "Look, give me this coin. Give me this coin that you have right here." Do I have any coins in my room? I don't think so. I don't have any cash anymore. But you hold up a coin and it's got a face on it. It's got the face of, in our case, the Queen. Back then it was the Caesar. And so you look at this coin and Jesus says, well, it's got Caesar's face on it, it's got Caesar's inscription on it, so this coin belongs to Caesar. That's how this works. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's. Render to Caesar what the things that are Caesar's. But then he says, he goes a step further, he says, and to God the things that are God's. So the notes in my Bible kind of blew my mind on this one, but I'll tell you that point in a second. The initial explanation of that is Jesus is saying, give to God the things that are God's. So what things are God's? Well, look around you in your life. There are tons and tons of blessings that you have. You have hopefully a family or friends. You'll have people around you who do nice things. Even if it's just tiny little things, there'll be blessings in your life. Those things are things that come from God. You walk down the street, you look at the birds singing. You hear the birds singing, you don't look at them singing that much. You hear the birds singing, you look at the sky, you've got the trees, you've got nature, you've got the sun shining down on you. Those things are from God, and so give God praise for things like that. That's what Jesus is saying. He's saying give to God the things that are God's. But the notes in my Bible kind of blew my mind on this one. Because the Bible tells us a couple of times that we are made in the image of God. It's very clear on that. When man is first created, God creates man in his image. And so when we look at that in relation to this passage, we see Jesus saying, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. And he holds up a coin that's got Caesar's face on it. He says, give to God what is God's. So what has God's image on it? Well, every single one of us. Each one of us is made in God's image. And so just like that coin is a reflection of Caesar, we are in some small way a reflection of God. We've got that image of God. We are made in his image. And so what do? Well, we give ourselves to God. We give ourselves entirely to God. We give him everything that we are. We're made in his image, and so we give our entire being to him. That's a perspective on this passage that I never had before. No one ever phrased it to me like that, and they never drew those two threads together. The fact that we are made in God's image, and that we give to God what is God's. We give to God the things that have his inscription, his mark upon them. We have his mark upon us, and so we give all of ourselves to God. It's this beautiful little explanation. And so Jesus incredibly answers their question. He doesn't get in trouble for telling people not to pay taxes. The opposite, he says, keep paying taxes, pay to Caesar what is Caesar's. Jesus is very clear a lot of the time. He tells people to submit to authorities. He tells people to submit to leadership. If you're going to protest, if you have issues, you do it peacefully. You continue submitting to people. You challenge people. You question people. That's how you bring about changes through dialogue. As we see here, Jesus brings about change in even these spies' hearts because they stand there marveling at his answer and are silent. So Jesus, even these spies who are sent to catch him out, Jesus still works his way into their hearts. And he doesn't do it through conflict. He doesn't do it through sort of beating them down. He does it through speaking with them and showing them God's ways. And so that's what we're called to do. But yeah, it's just a beautiful little passage. It's one that I've read before, I've heard before, but the link between the image of God was such a good thing for me to hear. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there for tonight. It's getting late, so I'm going to go to bed. I hope you have a wonderful morning, and I'll see you tomorrow, or in my case, I'll be recording my next video in just a few hours. So I'll see you then. Much love. Bye bye bye.